I'm sure someone in the chat box will tell you to refresh. Unfortunately, if I do a couple of live streams back to back, Twitch does not always update in real time. So sometimes it needs a refresh or two. So I'll give everybody a minute to hop back in here. There we go. I see Leica made it back. I don't know who else plans on joining us again, but we'll see. Let me move this slightly to the side. There we go. Actually, I'm better off moving the camera slightly to the side, otherwise I'm going to be blocking myself. I think that'd be better. It's not a good idea to run a player sheet off your table. Alright, so this should probably do it. So we are going to take a look at the new spin-off of Rajas of the Ganges called The Dice Charmers, which is a roll and write version of the game. I personally really like it, so I hope you guys will too. And I actually didn't expect it, because as I had taken a look at the sheet the first time, I was like, well, that looks really busy and it looks a lot like the board game, so I'm not sure if it's really gonna add anything. But it became available to try on the Yucata website, publisher sanctioned and all that, so I gave it a go and actually really enjoyed it, so now I own it. Kitty cats, don't destroy the house. Pretty please? Alright, so I'm going to do a 2-player playthrough because there's no official solo mode. I did see a few fan-made ones on Board Game Geek, so I might give those a go another time. But for now, I'm just going to play as if it was a 2-player game. And what we'll do at the beginning of the turn is we'll roll all of the dice. There we go. And they exist in 4 colors, and those match sections on your sheet. So the green section, the orange section, the purple section, and the blue section. There's also symbols, so it should be playable if you're colorblind as well. And the icons are pretty clear, I think. The goal is the same as the Rajas board game. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, so I'm going to run through it anyway. There's 2 tracks, Money, which is currently at 0, and Fame, which is also currently at 0. And the goal is to have those 2 tracks run towards each other and meet in the middle-ish. Doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, but meet each other somewhere along the way. Like in the saying, he was also very happy with this roll and write version. That's good. So what you're gonna do is, once it's your turn, you will pick a die, and in a 2-player game everybody will get to go twice. It plays up to 5 players, the board game only goes up to 4. Although, to be fair, with 4 or 5 players, downtime can get a little longer. It doesn't bother me, it still plays quickly enough. But because the starting player just rotates, that means in a 5-player game, if you're first now, then you're last in the next round, so you're gonna have to wait 8 turns before you get to go again. That might bother some people, so I think that's fair to point out. So, differences with the board game. In this roll and write version, everything is pre-printed on your board. You still have markets where you can sell goods and earn money, and you have buildings which will get you fame. But in this case, the buildings and markets are already printed, and you're gonna draw roads to visit those places, and you can only visit each of them once. And unlike the board game, you never have to spend money, so both fame and money, once you earn them, are permanent. This is the palace, which you might recognize from the board game. You get various bonuses. This is the river, where you can move and again get various bonuses. These market stalls is where you go and collect some goods, and you can later sell those by visiting the markets on your estate. And the buildings will earn you fame, and if you get a scroll somewhere, then you can make those buildings worth more fame. All of that in future turns. So you cannot first visit all of the buildings and then upgrade it and get points for it later. You only get points when you visit the buildings. So you can either visit a whole lot of them, or you can visit fewer of them but upgrade them before you do so. So there's definitely various strategies to try here. And let's see, what would I like to start with? By the way, there's 2 sheets in the game, the sun and the moon, so you can play with an alternate sheet as well. And I'm personally probably going to cut and paste some of the 2 layouts and to get more than 2 layouts and mix it up even further. might not be perfectly balanced anymore that way. For example, you might not be able to get to the maximum number of fame or the maximum number of scrolls, but as long as everybody has the same sheet and knows so in advance, I don't see that being too big of a problem because everybody has the same stuff to work with. The player sheets in one game are always identical. So I'm gonna start by picking some goods so that I can visit stuff later. So I do this, and the first player in any turn, once they have picked one die, the other one of that color goes away. It goes on top of the elephant. By the way, how cute is this elephant? It's also a lot more stable than the one in the board game, fortunately. So that one goes on top of here. And if any player, either in a 2-player game on me on my next turn or in a game with more than 2 players, pretty much any other player, would still like to get that die, they can spend karma and then they can reroll this die and any one of the other remaining ones of their choice. But you get to reroll it, so it might not land on the face that you liked, but at least that way you get access to the color again. And yeah, that's true, like, and although I've been known to ignore that, but there are some bonuses along the money track on this side and on the moon side, so the other player sheets, there are some on the fame track, so it does try to encourage you to pursue both a more money heavy strategy and a more fame heavy strategy. But I do feel on the roll and write you kind of need to do it both. In the meantime, let me circle this. You do kind of need to do it both, while in the board game it's possible to win almost exclusively on one or the other. You're going to need a little bit of money in order to pay for stuff, but you can focus really heavily on one or the other. And in this one, I definitely do feel like you need to do both in order to make markers meet, although you can definitely still lean more towards one or the other. And especially the river is interesting because you can take a lot of smaller steps and pick that die a lot of times, or you can try to rush towards the end where everything is much stronger. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So that was my first turn, and now we're moving onto the other player. Let's see what it would be a nice choice for that player. I'm gonna go for this one, and that says a palace action of your choice. So this means I can now pick any of the others. This one says 1 or 2 steps up the river, which would be nice because it gets me a scroll and a fame. I can sell 1 or 2 goods, which I don't have, or get 1 new good, which is kind of weak. I can get a money and a scroll. Again, that's interesting because I like the scrolls. This says you can have 2 half roads, which mean I can either draw a straight line or a corner piece, or I can reuse squares that I've previously drawn roads in order to create crossroads. Right now this is your home and it has already pre-drawn these 4 streets. It's not super clear because they made it gold, so it might not be too visible on camera, so let me make those black, but those have been drawn already. And then finally I can move 1 or 2 steps backwards on the river, and if I can't or don't want to, I can again get a good as an alternate action, but it's a little weak. And this has the same kind of combo feel that a game like That's So Clever has, in that if you do the same thing a lot of times, sometimes become stronger, or maybe you just want to work towards a particular strategy and do the same thing a lot of times, but if you complete columns, so do a little bit of everything, you get rewarded with bonuses, and you might be able to trigger some really nice chain effects when you are further along in the game. So it starts off kind of slow, but towards the end you can get some really nice change going. I'm gonna go for this one and move 1 up the river, so I'm gonna cross this off, and it gets me a scroll and a fame. There we go, 1 fame, and I can choose which one of these to upgrade. Let's go for which one do I want? Let's go for silver. So again, here the ones have already been crossed out, so you already have 1 fame if you go visit a building, and now I'm gonna make the silver one worth 2. And then we're back to the first player who gets a second turn, and then this player also gets a second turn. If you play 3 to 5 players, everybody just gets 1 turn before everything is rerolled. And obviously in a 3-player game that will give you the most choices once it's your turn, even if you're last player. I think 3 players might be the sweet spot for this one, but I have played it over in Yucatan a whole bunch of times at all player counts, so 2, 3, 4 and 5 players. And I personally enjoy it at all player counts. It's definitely slower with 5, but it's not unbearably slow for me, so I'm okay with it. But I do think maybe this one will be preferable at lower player counts for most people, which is nice because I feel like a lot of people prefer 4 players for the board game. Again, I also like the board game at each player count, so that helps for me. I might pick a cow and sell the 2 goods I already have, or I could start drawing roads. But I think I'm gonna go for this one. And then later on, something like this guy means I can actually move back, so that would be useful. There we go, I get to sell 2 different ones. Well, I have those, and they're currently both worth 1 money, so that gives me a total of 2 money, so I cross off some money up here. There we go. And then we're back to this player. This player still doesn't have any goods, so the windmill might be interesting so that they can get 2 goods, or maybe draw a road and start, hi cat, and start working on that because we already upgraded a building. I think we're gonna go for this though, because it's definitely nice to have goods, because you can sell them here, you can sell them on the river, you can sell them on with markets, so there's a few ways to sell them, which means it's always nice to have some in stock. So we're gonna do that, and I can pick which 2, it doesn't really matter, so we'll just grab the top 2. If you already had some, it might matter, because some markets let you sell either up to 3 different ones or up to 3 of the same, so then it could matter, but right now it doesn't really. Then all of the dice go back in the middle, and then the other player goes first. And that's how we'll continue until somebody wins. And you will be able to see that the game will speed up as we go further along. Oh man, this is awfully and really poorly aligned, some of these. That annoys me. Oh, I should put it back on the right face, but that's pretty annoying. Other than that, they feel really nice and they look really pretty, but they are not stickers. They have been silk screen printed, so it's unfortunate that some of them are a little misaligned. But oh well, can't always have everything. They just look really pretty. Also on the player sheet, and I feel like the colors could be a little brighter. I feel like they're a little muted, so hopefully in the next edition that will be fixed. The dice are really nice and bright, but the sheet could... I mean, I turned on an extra lamp already and I still feel like the sheets are kind of dark. It's definitely clearer to see in the online implementation where this is a lot more green, and here it's more like green-grayish. Again, unfortunate, but not game-breaking. Alright, let's see, what are we gonna do? I could grab this girl and sell something. Oh no, I actually like this one. I'm gonna do this one, and that takes her out of the equation. And this one says move 1 or 2 back. So you always look at your rightmost spot on the river. So let's say I was already here, then I would start here and then move 1 or 2 back. And you skip over things you've already crossed off. So if I've crossed off like 4 in a row, I would still get to go back to one of these 2 spaces. And then when you move forward on the river, you always again start at the most rightmost one. So you do not have to track where your ship has left off. That's something people sometimes miss on the first playthrough. So I get to move back twice, I go here. And that means the next time, if I would grab this cow, I do not go to this one, I go to this cow. So there's no way to track where you were lost, and it isn't important. You just look, what's the furthest I've gotten along this river? That's up to here. So then I find the next symbol of that particular type. Okay, so now I've crossed off a road. That means I get to draw a road. I'm gonna draw this one up here. That means I visit a silver building that's currently worth 2 fame. So I cross off 2. Oh, that's not fame, that's money. Uh-oh. It's because the building is silver, so I was like, I have to cross off something silver. Let's ignore that. Hopefully I'll get some money soon. And hopefully if I forget that I wasn't supposed to cross that off, you guys will yell at me. Okay, so back to this player. And again, the starting player took a die and the other one of that color was taken out. And now we're back to this person. That looks like it's gonna be some goods, because this isn't useful. That's both a huge jump up the river and I no longer have any goods to sell. I could start drawing roads, but none of it is upgraded, so I'd prefer to just grab some goods right now. I should probably cross this off clearer. There we go. And here as well. If I just do it like that, it's also easy to know that I haven't actually crossed off the money over there yet. It will look less pretty, but it will be clearer for you guys to see what I'm doing. So let's go for clarity over pretty. Okay, back to this player. We could go for another road perhaps, but I don't think that's too interesting. And again, selling something isn't too tempting right now because it would be a huge jump up the river. So it's either a road or some goods. A road could set me up towards another silver and then selling something later, which does look interesting. Or I can grab goods so that the other player doesn't get more goods. But then they only have one type of good, which they need to travel up to here or here to sell, so they're nowhere close to that. So I think I find this more interesting right now. So you can only use each square once when you draw an entire road, so either a straight line or a corner. But both on the dice and on this river, on this palace action, you have half roads, which you can again use for an entire road, but you can also use to make little sections off of squares you've already used to give yourself multiple directions to go in later. And Lycan is commenting in the chat box about strategies and thoughts that occurred to him while he was playing, that like he didn't think purple dice were useful because it didn't gain you money or fame right away, so it didn't feel like making progress, but he found out that he did really need those, so that became more obvious to him later. I've demoed this to a lot of people. I do see most people going for the goods in the first round. Either the first player or the second player tends to do that. First player if the river actions aren't interesting, and if those are interesting, then usually the second. So I do think a lot of people do realize that you're gonna need them. And let's see, we're back to this player right now. Oh no, that's not true. I still have to mark off the fame for this. So I marked here, and that's 1 fame. So there we go, 1 fame. And now we're back to this player. And we can draw a road. But ideally I would want to go towards one of those with the goods that I currently have, which isn't too interesting yet. So I think I'm just going to go grab more goods now, and I'm sure those will come in handy later. Hopefully. Alright. Oh, I could have used a karma. The game does start you off with 1 karma. That might have been a good idea actually, to reroll a river die and an orange die. But I already marked this off, so I'm going to stick with this choice. But this would have been a good moment to show you guys how karma works. I'm sure we'll get to that eventually. They do have a nice feel when rolling these dice, so pretty happy with that. Lots of duplicates though. Alright, so this one. Let's see, this one is always nice because it gives you a palace action of your choice. It does jump me quite a ways up, but I could then choose him and jump backwards a little bit again, so... And it would take this action away from the other player, who doesn't have to jump quite as far. So... I do think that looks tempting to mess that up a little bit, so let's go for that. Because it's a race to the finish, so you do have to track a little bit of what other people are doing. It's not hugely important, but it can matter a little bit. So I can also see why some people would find that problematic in a roll and write like this, because it's not always easy to see what other people are doing. Obviously, if you play it digitally, that will be very easy to see, but in real life when you're all sitting across a table, that could be more difficult. Alright, so I'm doing this. That says I can now cross off any of these palace actions of my choice. And I'd already decided I would probably like to move backwards. So that's going to be this one. And then I think I'm just going to move 1 backward and get some more karma and some money. 1, 2, there we go. Karma. Alright, and then this player gets to go next. The road looks kind of nice. That gets me another one of those. Another good option, interesting option would be maybe going for this one so that I can also trigger some interesting bonuses. I think I like that. I'm gonna go for this one. Get another palace action of my choice. And now you can already see the 2 sheets are kind of playing differently, because this one has hardly done anything with the palace and this one has almost maxed out one of the actions already. And if you do max something out, it just means you can't pick that again. So I do this, and then I get to pick something else, and I pick this one. Which means I first do the main action, which is selling 1 or 2 things or getting 1 new one. I'm gonna sell these 2. Get 2 more money. Guess they're 1 each. So now I do get to cross this off legally. There we go. And then because I've completed this column, I get 1 half road. You cannot use a half road to enter a new square. If you enter a new empty square, you have to draw an entire road, either a straight line or a corner. If you had 2 half roads, you could have combined them into 1 whole. So I can either make another section here, here, or here. And I'm going to do this one because my silver is the building that's currently worth the most fame to me. So I would like to work towards visiting those. And then we're back to this player. Selling something would be kind of nice because I have 4 of these, so I'm probably gonna grab that and go into a straight line towards that one. This one would let me sell 3 times and get me a bonus of any palace action of my choice, which would be nice. It only gets me 1 fame right now because I have no scrolls yet, but that's alright. There we go. Then we're back to this player who no longer has any goods, so it seems like a good bet to grab some of that. Doesn't really matter if we're grabbing 2 different ones or 2 of the same. Well, that's not actually true. We can already visit this one. This one says we want different ones, so this one seems like a better pick then. There we go. And that's another turn done. And you will definitely see that it starts speeding up as we get further into the game. At some point we'll be able to set up some combos. You already saw a little bit of that here by doing this and then that and then that. So you already saw some of that happening. I will cross that off for clarity. And then this player is up first if I am not mistaken. Luckily most of these are nicely aligned. It's only a few of them that are off enough that it's actually obvious, but most of it looks really pretty and they feel really nice. They don't feel like they would easily scratch. It feels really smooth when you touch them. So with a dice game, that's always important to me. If there's special faces on it, like on this one, it would suck if they feel like they will wear very easily. These do not feel like they will wear easily, which I think is the most important thing. And if that comes at the cost of not aligning everything perfectly, I can deal with that. Let's see. Let's go for this one. That seems like a good call. Oh, that goes here, and then this goes here. This one says I get another scroll and another money. I could go for a different scroll because once I have upgraded each building once, I get a bonus of picking the goods from one of the purple dice that round. But because I'm close to visiting 2 more silvers, I'm gonna go for upgrading this one even further. And this way I will know that on my second turn I can pick a road regardless of which type, because there will be roads left. Although this one would be more interesting, a corner piece would make me miss out on a bonus along the side. But that's what half roads could be useful for later on, so it's alright. Alright, so now we're back to this one. I grabbed goods with this one last time, but I thought I did at least, but I don't see them circled. So I'm wondering if I skipped something or if I'm misremembering what I did. This is what happens if you play 2 people. I'm sure I did it right. I'm sure Lycan would have told me if I forgot something, so I think I did it right. Let's just believe that I did. None of these are too interesting for me because they will be a really huge jump. Oh, this is not huge, but it's also not great. So I don't think that's too interesting. Oh no, I did a road so that I could sell these later on. That's what I did. Let's do that now. It has the additional benefit of annoying the other player. So I can now either draw 2 half roads or 1 whole road in any orientation. So I'll draw a straight road up here. That means I can sell these 3. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These bonuses are done after my main action, so this was the main action. And now I have this bonus, and I can trigger them in an order of my choice. Do I really particularly care in what order I want to trigger that? Not really, I think. Uh-oh, no kitty cat, no helping. No, go stay there. I think I'm gonna go for a red building because I can already reach a red building. If I get half roads, I can make little marks off to the side for that. So I'm gonna spend this one on upgrading the red. And let me mark this off a little clearer. There we go. And then I have this guy. And I think I would like to spend that guy on this one or two forwards on the river. And then move one forward and get one of each good again. Let's see, that almost maxes out my red ones. But it also gives me some of these, which I don't yet have. If you max out, if you sell an entire 10, so if I've sold all 6 of these, you get a bonus. But it's only after selling, not after collecting. So if I collect another yellow grain, then I do not yet get that bonus. I actually have to sell all of that. Just so we're clear. Alright, and then we're back to this one. This one is only a very small jump, and this one is also nice. They're both interesting, to be honest. And if you get enough karma, you get extra fame to go with it. So I do think that's nice. I do like a road, but I think I prefer a straight road with this sheet. So I'm gonna go for one of the river actions instead. And get 2 money and another karma. There we go. And then we're back to this player. This is now a smaller jump, so it's at least a little more interesting to pick that. I think I might actually be alright with doing that. Sure, why not? Let's go for that. I mean, it's not like I really badly need more goods. I could grab 2 more yellows so that I have a chance of selling enough to trigger the bonus, but doesn't look too interesting yet, to be honest, so I'm gonna go for this. There we go. Then we mark off this guy. It gets me a palace action of my choice. I think I'm gonna jump back 2 again. So we're jumping into this, and then we get to draw a road. I definitely want to do that here, and then I can either move down or up. I think I'd like to move down, because I can't really reach this area right now. Well, I can still reach this area from here, so I think that would be best. That's currently worth 2 fame, because it's the one I upgraded last time. I'm not sure if these are all clear enough for you guys. Should probably mark them clearer. There we go, so I get 2 fame. There we go. Oh, yes, you are right. I used this, but I did actually. It's probably not clear, but it does have a little cross through it. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. You said I should have crossed off this guy and then done the free choice. I did indeed, so because I triggered this guy, I was like, oh, that's an action of my choice, and I marked the action of my choice, but I forgot to mark off the actual guy. I do indeed have to do that. Thanks for catching that, Lycan. Alright. And I think that's everything. So then we're gonna go to this player for the first player. Alright. So many doubles again. Alright, let's see. What is interesting right now? Selling stuff would be interesting, but I can't seem to easily do that quite yet. Well, that's not true. With a road, I can sell 1 of each, and then I get a scroll with that. Oh, that's actually quite nice. Let's do that. There we go. So we make that a straight line so that we can trigger the bonus. Again, main action first, so it's going to be selling 1, 2, and 3 for 3, 4, 5, 6 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 money. And then I have the bonus actions. I'll do the karma first so that I don't forget to grab that. That comes with 1 fame. You get that fame right away. You do not get it once you spend the karma. You get it once you earn the karma. That can be a little confusing because these bonuses you only get once you cross stuff off. But these ones you get when you circle them. So that can get a little confusing, I think. Alright, and then I have this bonus action left. That's this guy, so that gets me 1 more money. And a scroll, so I can upgrade something. I think I would like to go for a different building now, because I'm nearing all the silver, instead of upgrading the red one further. Okay, and then we're on to this player right now. Let's see. What would be interesting? The silver's already maxed out to 3, so I was kind of hoping to start traveling through those. I could spend karma to do that and re-roll this. I could do it with this and then trigger that, but that would max out this guy, so I don't believe that would be a good option. Let's see. This one would get me another 3 goods, which would not be too bad. Although then after that I do really want to move backwards so that I don't skip the free palace action. But I do think that might be alright. Sure, let's do that. I'll grab the windmill. And then I'll get one of each again. 1, 2, 3. And now I have a whole bunch of stuff to sell. So basically I'm just gonna need a whole bunch of roads at some point. It's not possible to play this game without roads, guys. This is basically all set up for doing stuff here. You cannot ignore that part entirely. It's a pretty huge part, it's just different ways to go about it. And then we're back to this player. Let's go for this one. And then I get one more money and a scroll. And I can either pick the silver or I can pick this one, which is what I'm gonna do in this case. So I have one of each, and that triggers picking a purple die. Even if the purple dice were here or on other players' boards, it doesn't matter. You just point at one of the purple dice that have been rolled this round and you collect what's on there. In this case, that's kind of the same for both, so it doesn't really matter. And I did consider doing this and saving this later because this purple die isn't too interesting to me because it will max out my red, which means any red on the dice in future rounds or anything like this that gives me one of each will kind of be a little wasteful. I would have preferred one that only had 1 or 2 of these colors and not any red on it. But it is also nice to have some stuff to sell, so I'm going with it anyway. And then we're back to this player who really wanted to sell some stuff, but can't easily do that yet. Instead, I'm going to use a karma now. So we're going to cross off a karma, and that means I reroll this one plus one of these of my choice. And I'm going to reroll the orange because there's a whole bunch of stuff interesting in the palace, but I would ideally not want that. So we'll reroll those two. Oh, they went off the table almost. And then you get to pick one of these two. You do not get to say, oh, I don't like them, I'll grab one of these instead. You do have to grab one of the new ones. The ones you just rerolled. If you still don't like them and you have more karma, you could opt to reroll again. I don't think I feel the need to do that. I am going to instead grab this girl, and the one I don't pick goes back on here. Doesn't matter in this case because it will be the end of the round, but that way you know how it works. I'll cross off her, and I get to do 1 or 2 steps on the river. I'll stick with 1. And then I get to draw a road like this, and either this one will be interesting or this one. This one will get me an extra 4 money, which could be nice. It comes with another scroll, and this one will let me sell stuff, which is also nice. I'm gonna go for the sales action and move that like this. So first I get 3 fame for this. 1, 2, 3. And then I get to sell one thing of my choice. I'll sell this one for 1 more money. And then hopefully in the next turn I can move through this, sell 1 of each, and that would sell 2 of each total and trigger another river bonus. So that would be nice. And then we're moving on to this player for the first turn. Like in the saying, it's nice that this elephant is more stable than the one in the board game. If you pick up the one in the board game, it kind of falls apart. In this case, they were smart enough to have stuff slide in sideways, but in the board game, the legs and body are slid into each other from the top. So if you pick it up to move it somewhere, it's possible that part of the elephant will stay behind. Not as convenient. Alright, back to this player. The further you get in the game, the more interesting roads will become, so the more likely that the first player will grab a road so that the other road gets taken out. So we'll grab this. I am kind of always grabbing this one if it's a choice, because I can still use this to draw this type of road if I want. I can draw a straight line, a corner, or 2 half roads, so that will give me the most flexibility. I think I want to do a straight road up there. There we go. Sell 1 of each. That's another 6 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It gets me a scroll. I'll mark this one. And that gets me this guy, which is again a scroll and a money. So I'll grab the remaining scroll. So I have 1 of each again. And the money. Let's not forget the money. And now I have left to trigger this one, which is 1 step up the river, and this one, which is new goods. Let's start with this one. Both of the purple dice are identical, so that's easy to figure out what I want to pick. So yeah, it can definitely happen once you trigger a lot of these bonuses in one round that you might overlook something. Again, that's the benefit of playing this digitally on Yucata, because Yucata is a scripted website. It will not let you finish your turn if there's stuff you have left to do. So it can definitely, I think that can definitely help if you are looking at this and you think it might be overwhelming for you. I can recommend playing it once or twice on there to help with that. Oh, on that note, I used this the previous turn and didn't cross it out. So there we go. I did do this, I did do that, I did do that. So now I have this one left to trigger. 1 forward on the river. And then I get 4 more money. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it gets me 1 more fame. Karma, sorry. And the karma gets me 1 more fame. So this was a pretty long combo. It's nice that you guys can see how that works. And then we're finally back to this player. And let's see, what do we want up here? Backwards on the river was interesting, but that's not gonna happen anymore. Is forward on the river also interesting? That's selling 2 things. I do have some stuff to sell, and that would get me quite a bit of money, enough to trigger this one. So that could be interesting for sure. Roads would also be interesting, but there are no roads, so let's not do that. This one also lets me sell 2. Oh, and it triggers 1 half road as well, so that's kind of equal, really. But this one is the next step anyway, so I'm gonna do this, because if I don't do this now and I pick her instead, then later on I might have to skip this one if I pick another symbol on the river. So this seems more sensible. This says sell 2. So I will sell this one for 2 and this one for 4. That gets me 6 more money. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, that doesn't get me the half road yet. Gets me close though. That's alright. And then we're back to this player. There's still stuff left to sell here as well, so that could be a possibility. Or grabbing some new goods, but then I ideally want some green, which isn't on there. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and grab her, which will trigger another bonus as well. So I get to sell up to 2. 1, 2, that gets me 4 money. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then because I have completed another column, I get to sell 1 more. I do have 1 more, so that's great. And then I get 3 more money. So here they're kind of tied right now. Here not so much. So it looks like this player is currently in the lead, but they have had 1 more turn right now. This player still gets to grab a die. But yeah, like I'm saying, that setting up these combos and pulling them off is one of the most satisfying things in this game, and I definitely agree with that. But I can see some people might find that fiddly when not playing the digital version, because you do have to track all of that yourself and make sure you're not overlooking anything and you're not forgetting to cross anything off. So I can see why some people wouldn't like this, but I personally really love this. Alright. Back to this player, there's no more goods to sell. This one is wasteful though, because I can't circle anything red, so we just get 1 yellow, which is obviously rather sad, so not interesting. Let's not do that. What else could we do? I could max this one out, because we already had the one on the side, so that's fine, I guess. And upgrade something else, but it doesn't really get me anything useful quite yet either. This one could be nice. I am skipping over a lot of river stuff if I do that though. But I think that's alright with me. I think I would like to go for this one. And that means, that says I get this, which is a fame and 2 fame and a karma. So 2 fame and a karma. And then that gets me another 2 fame, and now suddenly this player is in the lead. Oh no, actually they're kind of tight right now. And it's interesting, because they're playing quite differently, I feel. If I'm looking at the palaces, it looks like they're going for different things. And if I look like this, that's kind of different. So it's interesting. Alright, back to this person being the starting player. I think I already know what I'm doing while I'm putting these dice here. There's still no yellow on here, which is unfortunate. I am considering grabbing the green because I don't have too many more goods to sell, but I think I'm much more interested in grabbing the next step up the river. So I am going to do that and take out the other river die. There we go, that's 5 more money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gets me a little half road, or I have to figure out which way I want to turn that. This one is a backwards on the river bonus, which looks really nice, considering I have a whole bunch of stuff here that's kind of powerful. So I'm going to do the half road here, so that later on I can draw a road up there, hopefully. And then we're at this person. In this case, the straight road looks like the best bet. That's going to be another 3 fame. 1, 2, 3. And then 1 forward on the river, which is a palace action of my choice. And in this case, this might be interesting to draw even more roads and get some more stuff going. I think that'd be a good idea. Oh, I can now do a kind of interesting combo this way. I'm gonna do this guy. And then I'm gonna do that like this. Get 2 fame from the main action. 1, 2. And then I have this bonus. And now I also get the cross of this guy, which will trigger a bonus later. But first I must move 1 or 2 backwards on the river. And so you always start here, but you skip over the ones that were used. So I can either pick this one or this one. And this would be another palace action of my choice. So it'd be another free choice. That looks pretty neat. Let's do that. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna say let's do 2 more half roads. And I can either split to the side here and trigger a bonus and split to the side somewhere else. Or I can draw an entirely new road. I don't have any more goods though, so I do feel like splitting sideways could be good. This is still the one that's the most famous, so I'm going to move this down so that I can start working towards the silver. And I'm going to move this sideways so that I can trigger this. And now I have 2 more of these purple dice I can trigger. Again, pretty nice combo. There we go. I'm going to pick 2 green for that. And then for the other one, I'll pick the 2 red. I could have picked the same one twice if I wanted, but this way I can set myself up to sell enough that I can trigger another 10th bonus later on. Again, looks like a pretty efficient turn. And then we're back to this player. And let's see what would be good here. This one. And then we're moving like that, so that's another 2 fame. There we go, and 1 backwards on the river, so that gets me these. It's a little wasteful because that's 3 different ones and I can no longer mark red, but I do get some more goods. So then I'll have 1 of each again, which means I could sell those once I reach that particular section. Alright, and then this player gets 1 more turn. I definitely feel like this player is currently winning. Oh, there's even more roads there. Definitely working out nicely. 1 forward on the river would let me sell some stuff, which looks like it could be pretty valuable right about now, as well as get me some fame. So I do think more roads might be the most interesting way to go right now. But this one is also interesting to try and work my way there and get to sell 3 different ones. I don't have 3 different ones yet, but I might later. And this one is still worth more fame than that one. So these are both quite nice, to be honest. If I go here now and I do little sides later, then I can work towards some market. So I do think I want a straight line for now. Actually, it's going to be hard to get more little side roads if I cross him off now and take him as a whole road instead of a half. Ooh, better idea. Let's grab her. I get 1 or 2 forward on the river, so I'll grab this one, which is a crossroads. So that will give me quite a bit of wiggle room. And I'll put the crossroads up there probably. This one's also nice. This one's actually very nice. I think I might like this one better. Let's do it here. I get 3 fame for this one. 1, 2, 3. And that's it for now. And then this player is now first. There we go. Getting quite close to the end of the game. Maybe this round will do it, if not 1 more after this. Shouldn't take too much longer. All Alright, roads, obviously. That's definitely gonna be the best way forward right now. Okay, so because the later on you get, the more valuable roads will become, because hopefully you'll have stored up more goods, so they will be more valuable, and you'll have upgraded your buildings a bit. So like I said, it speeds up, both because of the combos and just because things on your sheet have become more valuable at that point. I'll move this along like that. That's 2 more fame for me, and 1 backwards on the river puts me here. Then I get to sell 2 things. I will sell this one and this one for another 5 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gets me a little half road to place somewhere. I'm not sure it matters too much where I'll place that right now. No, I don't think so. Although actually that bonus might be helpful, so would this one. This one is stronger than that one, obviously, but the fame feels stronger than the money at this point as well, because I can only sell 2. They're both kind of interesting. 5 money is technically 2.5 fame, so I think this one is better. Let's go that way. Oh, I drew that a little bit too far. It's supposed to stop here, guys. This is not drawn yet. And then we're back to this one. Like is saying, this game has a snowball style of play. It definitely does. I think that's a very, very good label for this snowball type of game. It definitely feels like that. Alright, back to this one. This will get me a whole lot of... this will get me 3 more fame. I was like, this girl usually gives karma, so I thought it was like, oh, I get 6, but that's not true. Where is the remaining karma for me? Should be able to get karma from somewhere else as well. I probably skipped one somewhere then. Or is there still one on the side of my sheet? No, there's still one here, but I'm not super close to it. That would get me another 3 fame as well, so it would be nice to work towards that. I have enough fame that if or enough karma that if I want a road, I can just re-roll and draw a road. Which would also lend me this, so that would be more interesting. I am gonna go ahead and do that probably. What am I re-rolling alongside with that? Probably one of these 2. And in this case it can matter seeing what somebody else might need. I think this one would be more useful for the other player, because then they would get some more bonuses. So I'm gonna re-roll that one. I'm basically re-rolling something just to get a road, but I have to re-roll something else alongside with it, so I might as well do it in a way that it hinders the other player. A straight road or a palace action of my choice. Well, that's tempting. I do think I wanted the straight road though, so... Then again, I could get a road in the next turn, because it will go back on here, but if that player also decides to spend karma, the road will be gone. So I'm gonna go for the road and play it safe. And draw one like this. That's gonna get me silver, that's 2 more fame. Plus 1 step forward on the river, which is another 3 fame. Floofje! Hey Floofje! Don't sit on the game, okay? You can sit there next to the game. Back to this player. And let's see what could be helpful there. This one might actually be nice. This will get me very far. That will put me here. That's a karma and 2 fame. So I'll first mark the 2 fame. But then this karma also comes with 2 fame. So we have 2 more fame. Almost there. So this player's attempt at blocking that one didn't quite work out. They maybe should have just gone for this one instead of the road. It's just not possible to weigh every option on every other player's sheet, especially not because you're... I expect if you're actually playing this 2-player, usually people sit across from each other, so it will be even harder to see. Usually you won't sit this close together. Especially not in this pandemic, guys. Social distancing. Which is what roller rides are pretty great for, to be honest. Alright. My turn. I have 3 different ones to sell, but I cannot reach this market yet, so that's unfortunate. Oh, this one lets me sell 3. Let's just finish off the river. There we go, so I sell this one. Oh, that comes with a free forward on the river move that I can't actually use then. Aw, well that's unfortunate, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it's quite a bit of money and I feel like I'm gonna need to catch up. It's gonna be 9 money. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I definitely do feel like these sheets are playing quite differently, because this one has a lot of this, more of this maxed out. This one had one building upgraded to 3 and used that one an awful lot. So I do feel like they played out quite differently, but right now they're still kind of close together. So that's interesting. And then this player, that's not true, this player gets to go first. You do play an equal amount of dice, so if someone would end the game with the first die in a turn, you would finish after the first one in a 2-player game. Otherwise, if it happens in a second, you draw off the second, but usually you would just finish out the round. The exception could happen in a 2-player game if someone finishes on the first out of the 2 dice, that it will basically end halfway through a round, but then the other player also gets to pick at least 1 die. So you do get an equal amount of dice to keep it fair, which I think is important in a racing game. Alright, let's see. The river dice are no longer useful to me, so we can ignore that. Basically, there's not going to be a really good way for this player to block that one, because you don't really want people to get a road this late in the game. But if I take out a road, then this one is also roads, and this one is an action of your choice. So basically, all 4 of these will be super useful at this point. Hi, kitties. So no, I feel like all 4 of those would be very useful, and there's not going to be any way to block all of that. So that's unfortunate. Let's see, what could be a good thing for this one to do. Also, I hope I use this backwards move on the river thing. I haven't crossed it off. I'm only just noticing now, so I'm wondering if I forgot something at some point. I might have, which would be unfortunate, because that will probably be one of the strongest things I could get right about now. Oh well, we're gonna assume I did it, and if not, that's my bad. The problem with how my sheet is currently laid out is that there's no half roads on any of these, so I cannot really continue onto anything that's super valuable. So I feel like this sheet is actually set up quite poorly at this point. Because I could go for this guy and then move backwards and get some stuff, and backwards, I mean, is that one, and then I get a crossroads, but there's not going to be an ideal place to put that. I'm going to do it anyway, but it's definitely not perfect. And basically I want to use that to do this, so actually I can just do that and leave my sheet a little more empty. Didn't I know I wanted to move backwards, so I do have to grab this guy. Sorry about that. So grab this guy, and then I do backwards on the river. I go 1 backwards on the river. Grab a crossroads, put the crossroads up here. And this way I know next turn there will be another road, so I can hopefully do that next turn. But I think the other player might end game before that. Oh, actually this one isn't too useful for me anymore. I've already sold all of my things. But at least this would get me 3 more fame, which is nice. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough. Anyway, I get 2 fame for building this building. And then this player gets to go. And that player currently has a way better setup, so they're definitely going to win. I could have tried to block this one out, but then they would have grabbed either this one or this one, which would have also let them draw a straight road. So there was no way for me to prevent this player from winning. But yeah, they've definitely won with this. So that's a straight road that lets them sell these 2, which is 6 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would already trigger the end of the game. But then they also have this, which is another 3 fame. 1, 2, 3. Let's say everybody had not used an equal amount of dice, and maybe this one already had a second and this one would still get to go. Then they can try to win as well. And then whichever ran past each other the furthest would win. So in this case, I would have an overlap of, let's see, we count in fame, so 1, 2, 3.5. So I would have an overlap of 3.5 in this case. But this is the end of the game, and that player would win. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I should hopefully be back tomorrow. Let's see what I had on the schedule. I have playthroughs scheduled for pretty much an entire week. It just depends on my health. Sometimes I need to reschedule or cancel something, but that's why I scheduled this many. Let's see. Tomorrow I just have a roll and cook play along at 6:30 Central European time. So that might be a kind of a quiet stream because it's quite early in the day. But the reason it's scheduled that early is because I'm gonna try and do a one-shot RPG session with my friends online so that we can all catch up a little bit. And it's gonna take up most of our evening, so I am gonna stream, but it's gonna be short and it's gonna be early. Hi. We were only... yeah, we basically just finished. But thank you for popping in, even though it's at the very, very, very end. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. Did you win, Dutch Yoda? Because by the time I left your stream, it wasn't looking too good. Woo! Congrats! He did manage to pull off a win. That's really well played then. Congratulations. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up. Maybe see some of you guys at 6:30 tomorrow. And if not, see you guys in another one. There's plenty of stuff scheduled. And you can find them all as events on the Known and Those Games Facebook page as well, which should be viewable even if you don't have a Facebook account yourself. So that might be a way to view the entire schedule. And you can always reach out or email me if you don't have any social media. It's knownandknowsgames@gmail.com. Thank you for being there. And Dutch Yoda, I'm glad you managed to pull off a win. I'll try to pop into some of your other streams during the next week as well. Bye everybody, have a great evening.